savings. And I would think here in Alberta too, like we're especially prone to the booms and the busts, the spending and the paring back. It's the savings that really wind up hurting in the long run, isn't it, in our banks? A
number of things have happened. First of all, I think people have let their spending get out of control, and that digs into their savings and reduces it to very little, if any, at all. I do financial plans, retirement plans for people. I had one fellow say, my personal living expenses are $1,000 a month. And I went through his bank accounts and his statements, and I went through the software program I have, and it said that his personal living expenses were $3,000 a month, to which he responded, gee, I knew I drank and smoked a lot, but I didn't realize it was that much.
Oh boy.
So meanwhile, what happens with that is that when people are spending that much, there is very little left for savings. And so when you look at their cash flow every year, they wind up with negative cash flow and have to take money out of their savings accounts. And one thing that is happening is that there's so much instant gratification that people nowadays, the newer generation, want, people in their 20s. I'm hearing stories of one person I know who has a number of partners at a law firm in Calgary, and he said that 6 people in their 60s who are partners or members of the firm have all gone into debt, taking out mortgages because their children are staying at home because they can't afford their own mortgages, so they need mom and dad to take out the mortgage. And these people who normally retire out of debt all of a sudden are retiring in debt, so that's all changed.
Kelly, any follow-up as well to Bruce's advice? Is it just simply a matter of sitting down at the kitchen table with the calculator and your bills and figuring it out and doing some smart planning?
Absolutely. I would echo exactly what Bruce said. It's always bring in more income or cut your expenses. This is the only way to get out of a problem or, you know, get wealthy. But when I'm talking to a lot of individuals, they're not willing to do what generations of the past were willing to do. They're not willing to wait a little bit longer to get into a home or to downscale when the kids are leaving. Some of them actually upscale. Or taking a roommate. Like, you do what you have to do short term just to get through it. But I think a lot of times we just bury our head in the sand hoping that it will get better, not making those small adjustments. And it can be very small adjustments, like adding up your, I know, and too, Bruce, we've said this a million times, the lattes, the bottled water out. I've seen people spend $60 a month on ATB charges, like going to the bank, because the kids and them are just taking out $20 here and there and not realizing it. So stepping back, writing in 30 days, what are you spending? Then where as a family can we be creative? But
really looking at it, like ATB charges, who would think they could add up so much?
Exactly.
Because
and Bruce, Jennifer, a lot of the issue is grounded in human psychology. So I oversimplify it to make a point, but the way our brains work are complicated. And one of the most compelling theories, psychological theories, is something called loss aversion. And that is that we feel the pain of loss 2 times more than we feel the benefit of gain. So when someone experiences a certain lifestyle, the idea of taking their cable package down from 200 channels to 30 is just upsetting to people. And I use that, you know, tongue-in-cheek example. But to take your lifestyle down is a really hard thing for people to do psychologically. Necessary, but hard.
And maybe realizing that is the first step, because what I was going to ask you, Bruce, was the psychological impact. It's not comfortable either living paycheck to paycheck. So I guess balance that on the other side. How good does that feel? So great advice from all of you. Thank you on breaking the cycle. And I can't imagine, we'll have to talk about it next time, this habit of ours, not saving. Maybe it's good for the economy. I don't know. We'll get your opinions on that next Monday. Coming up tomorrow on the Vocal Point here on Alberta Primetime, Premier Ed Stelmach is trying to lead Alberta through some very challenging times. And the Conservative Leadership Review, 1 month away. How tough will that crowd be? We'll see what the experts say on our Tuesday political panel. Next up tonight, though, the pitfalls of pushing the envelope. You may have seen people riding longboards around your neighborhood. They look like skateboards, but they're longer.
It's the term longboard, yeah. In this week's Extreme Alberta, we meet Paul Kent, a Calgary longboarder, pushing the envelope just about as far as it can go.
is awesome. I think, prefer my rollerblades because they have brakes.
Yeah, which are especially good in the mountains. Could you imagine going from Calgary to Vancouver?
No, I still go running off into the grass to stop sometimes.
Unbelievable. You know, and if you know someone who fits the bill for our weekly Extreme Alberta, go to albertaprimetime.com.
Coming up tomorrow, the ramifications of Bill 50.
Yeah, this proposed legislation could give the provincial government control over how future power projects are carried out, including, of course, a new multi-billion-dollar set of transmission lines already in the works.
Are the projects needed, and should you bear the cost? Find out tomorrow. And we want to hear from you on this issue. Head to the website for our interactive question. Do we need a regulatory body to decide whether or not new power projects are needed?
Have a great evening, everyone.
For all of us here, good night, Alberta.